are now tuned in to the Lineman Lounge, the world's thickest sports podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Evo.
Como están, bitches? This is the Lineman Lounge. I am Mike. That is Evo. It's Monday night. Preseason is done, and cuts are already happening. No big names yet. Some guys you probably have not heard of are off rosters already, but the NFL is ready. I'm ready to fuck this pig. I'm ready to watch some football, my man. Evo, how you doing? Welcome in. We're finally here, baby.
Yeah,
We're
man.
finally here.
I'm glad to be here. I'm super excited. I'm titillated, if you will. I'm not gonna say what that D word that's going around TikTok or whatever, because people just fucking learned how to use a dictionary. Okay, I'll say it. Demure.
What?
Demure. It's the new
idea.
hotness. It's the new hotness with the
I
kids,
have
apparently.
absolutely no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, there's some shit going around in I don't know, the US, maybe. I don't know if it's elsewhere. Either way, it has nothing to do with this fucking show. It's Monday night. I'm happy to be here. I'm super stoked because we got football right around the corner. We already got college football going on, but like Mike said, preseason is done. We got official cut down day tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern time, I believe. We'll double check that. And we got a lot of cool things rolling with the show. Look, Lineman Lounge, we are a all sports show. We don't want to, only look at one sport, even though football, it is our bread and butter. This is like what we are really into, obviously. And it's when we really are hard and heavy out in your feeds is football season. And you're going to see a lot of us this year. We got some cool stuff, some cool plans for this season. We're going to be going over those here in a little bit to let everyone know how you can catch us, where you can find us, how you can see what we're going to be doing this season. But Mike, how are you doing on this Monday night? You just started a new semester of college, yeah?
Yeah, today was day one. I did not get a lot of sleep. I had a puppy and a child in my bed. I'm tired, but I'm fucking pumped to be here. School was fine. I don't have to take one of the classes that I was going to have to take because apparently I'm so fucking advanced. I don't need that class. So yeah, that was really cool thing about today. I get to drop a class, stay full-time as a student, and I picked up an internship probably. I just got to wait for some paperwork to go. And I don't know nothing about no Sigma, but she can suck my nuts.
That's your producer,
Amber. I know.
In.
Producer Amber, hello, love you. I had to get that line out, though. I've been waiting to say that suck my nuts thing since I've heard Graydon say Sigma.
I thought it was all like the Ohio Skibbity Riz fucking Sigma. I thought it was all bullshit. And then I took the kids to a fucking typhoon night or something like that here at the local pool. And while we were waiting in line, there's a bunch of fucking little preteen girls running around and being like, "That's Sigma Riz." And I was like, oh my God, this is a real thing. And our country is absolutely fucked. These are your future political leaders and stuff like that, which maybe they fit in, actually, with our current political landscape. Who knows? That's more of a talk episode.
That's the talk. If you want to go have a conversation like that with us, go check out the talk. That's a fun show, but we can't say this shit on this show that we maybe say on that show.
Yeah, it's a completely different focus, but obviously underneath the entire umbrella of the No Sleeves Network, which we got to pump the No Sleeves Network. We did some great things. Look, it's been a while since we've had like a legit show. It feels like a long ass time because, last time that, you might have seen anything from us, I was out in your neck of the woods out there in Ohio. We were doing the Irreverent Warriors March there in Cleveland. It was awesome. You're going to be seeing a lot more content come out from that. Here in the very near future. But it was great to get out there, be with the rest of the members of the No Sleeves Network, minus Matt. He was too cool for school for this one. But it's all good, man. It's all good. But with that, are you ready to kind of jump into what we're going to be looking at here for this NFL season? What the program is going to be doing, the Lineman Lounge for this upcoming NFL season?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Get into our recent events.
Hell yeah. Let's let the people know when they're going to be able to find us this year. We are upping up our game. We are going to do 2 shows throughout the season. We will have a recap show and we will have a gambling show. So depending on what you're looking for, you can kind of tailor your watching. However, we'd love if you watch both. And even if you only watch one while you're there, hit the subscribe for us, guys. The more subscribers we get, the more we can try to do. If we get to that point where we turn this thing profitable, I can promise you there is no telling the shit that we will do. Because if we can find a way to make money doing this, my God, the sky is the limit, boys.
Yep. So the plan going forward in the very short term, obviously we have our show going on tonight. Mike and I will be back with you a week from today on the 2nd of September. That is when we are going to do our preseason show where we go over our record predictions for every team in the NFL, our predictions of who your offensive rookie and defensive rookie of the year is going to be, MVP, etc., who we think is going to make it to the Super Bowl, things like that. Way too early predictions. That's when you're going to see that show a week from today. All right. And it's going to be in the evening because we got a fantasy football draft to do before that. And we're probably going to have shit to talk about with that as well, that we'll want to get off our chests. But a week from today is probably going to be the next time that you are going to see us talking NFL here in the Lineman Lounge. All right. Normally, that show would be our Tuesday night show, as you can see on our little graphic here, where we're going to be doing a recap of the previous NFL week. Crazy shit that happened, all the bad calls from referees, injuries, things like that. All right. Tuesday, we're going to be going over the previous week and giving you a little heads up on our thoughts of Thursday night football, that upcoming Thursday night football. All right. Then on Sunday mornings, we are also going to be doing a live stream. So Sunday, the 8th, you are going to be getting our first gambling prediction live stream kind of dedicated towards that. Now, normally on normal weeks of the Lyman Lounge in the past, we would do these Sunday morning shows or sometimes Saturday evening shows, and we would go over like, hey, this is what we think is going to happen with each of these games and give our gambling predictions. We are going to be a little bit more focused with it this year.
Yes.
On Sunday mornings, we are going to be giving you spreads. All right. Our predictions on the spreads of these games. Sidebar with that is we might throw out like, hey, this, we actually think this team is going to win. So if you want to do a money line, you might have a little bit of extra information there. And we're going to try to give out as much details and reasoning why we're picking the spreads and whatnot, just like we've done in previous years. But this year, instead of tracking, prediction total, which we were allowing ourselves to pick money lines or spreads before, we are solely going to be tracking our spread counter. All right. We are doing pretty fucking good when we were doing just money line or money line and spread, but we're upping our game this year. We're going to be giving the spreads. It's a little bit more difficult. And hopefully you can take that information as we're putting it out and put in some gambling bets if you so see fit. Obviously, don't gamble if you don't got the money for it. Be smart, be responsible. Okay. But we're going to be giving out that information on Sunday mornings. Now, if for some reason we have a programming issue or whatever, we might move that to a Saturday night or something like that. But it's still going to be relatively close to those games before they pop off on Sunday and the Monday night game. Did I get everything right there, Mike?
I think that is everything, brother. The only thing I was trying to find, it just came up in my brain, the percentages from last year. You were 65% when we were including money lines, and I was 60% when we were including money lines. Obviously, maintaining that percentage on the spread is going to be tough, but if we can find a way to make that happen, man, if we're going to be hitting spreads like that, I feel like we can make quite a bit of money. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous, but I'm very pumped for that. And I love the fact that we're going to split this into 2 shows. More focused in the specific things that we need to focus on in each show. So we're not going to run into hopefully these 3-hour shows where we're giving recaps and we're giving bets. We can kind of focus in more on the individual things that need to happen. So I think that will also be better for the people. But yeah, I'm pumped, man. I'm excited for more lounge.
Yeah, absolutely. And on those morning shows, by all means, we're going to have that call number up still. So if you got thoughts on our bets or you have a prediction of your own, you can still call in and let us know. All right. That's not going away. Same with the recap show. If your team just completely ripped your heart out, Tuesday nights, you can call in and let us know because we're going to be doing these bad boys live. All right.
Yeah.
So, cool stuff for the Lineman Lounge coming up. A little programming change. It's still going to be the same two dummy thick idiots, though, giving you our information. And we've been hitting with it. So hopefully that trend continues.
Hell yeah. All right, brother. We ready to start diving into the show portion of the show.
The show portion of the show.
The show
yes,
portion
absolutely.
of the show. So we always start typically with some youth sports. You know, we talked baseball for a little while, but now we're back into football. I'm super pumped, dude. Graydon has already had his first game. They had their first game before school started, which I fucking love the fact that that's still a thing that happens. I remember our first high school game always being before the first day of school. And the kid showed out, like had a great game. Did make some mental errors, but played great. Started at right guard, left end. His team, they had to bust down an hour to Aurora, but they went down there and controlled that game almost the entire game until they were switching in some kids that needed some reps. So pumped for the Lamuth middle school boys. They looked damn good, but I did have, it was like a proud dad moment, and also at the very same time, like if I was your coach right now, I'd be ripping your ass as well. Long touchdown play, and Graydon continued to block until the other person could not get up, and Hanky, no touchdown, took points off the board. That's tough when you're a guard. Like, you can't be making those types of errors as a guard. If you get points off the board, that's a big no-no. Hopefully he learned from that. Like, finish through the whistle for sure, but when the play's that far away, play's over for you.
You know what? I will respectfully disagree. As a lineman, the pancake, that can happen anytime until that whistle's blown. And then if it's getting a bit personal, it might go after the whistle a little bit. That's the aggression you want to see out of a lineman. And I told Graydon before I left, I said, hey, do fucking good. We're watching you this year. All right. Like, I'm proud of him for that. Like, go for it, man. Look, I have had some dirty plays in my time. A complete blindside fucking hit on a dude on a punt return that resulted in an ambulance being called out. Yeah. But guess what? It's fucking football, man.
And
like,
it's true. Keep your head on a swivel, baby.
Yeah, like, it's not my fault that he wasn't paying attention. And the play was going to slowly be coming his way, maybe at some point. It doesn't matter because he got flipped up and landed on his head. It is what it is. And you know what? Like, yeah, maybe the play's further down the field, but as long as he ain't something like that, if you're engaged, you're engaged. Like, to me,
yeah,
that sounds like
so. I love the fact that he finishes the block. I don't love the fact that points come off the board. That's really tough to sell.
But that sounds like a referee problem.
Okay, so yes, I agree. And you know what? These kids are old enough now. I mean, they're playing middle school football. Thank God we're not in Arizona anymore for football season. I love all those guys. I would love to go back and coach with all the guys we coach with, all the players. But I hated the fact that we had to be in a rec league in Arizona because there was no middle school football. So they're in football. They have their coaches as teachers, and like you start to kind of build that structure, that environment. And it's not like, I hate the fact that points come off the board. I am fucking losing my train of thought. I don't like the fact that he got penalized. It sucked. I felt bad for him, but also I was like, just let him go. It's like a proud, and I don't know where to be. I'm a little confused.
I would want more of a ruling on why, like, what
this is 7th grade football. They're not fucking giving you that.
It's football. You should, in my opinion.
Come on.
Either way, good for Graydon. Sucks the points came off the board, and good for his team for going out there and getting the win.
Good win.
Alrighty.
But that's all I got on youth sports. Let's get into some grown adult sports.
Yeah, absolutely. So, cut down day for NFL rosters is tomorrow. I just pulled it up. We got to get down from 90 or 91 players on some team if you have an international player, down to 53 players by 4 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow. The cuts have already started happening, and the trades have already started happening as well, and that's kind of what we're going to go over today, leading up to our September 5th first Thursday night game where the Ravens are going out to Kansas City to play the Chiefs. Absolutely looking forward to that. It's going to be awesome. But again, leading up to that, teams have to cut down. I know that my Vikings already cut a whole bunch of players. They're starting to put players on IR. It's a new rule this year where NFL teams previously, if you wanted to IR a player, you had to keep them on your 53-man roster at cutdown day and then put them on IR the next day, which introduced a whole bunch of players to waivers that the team intended ultimately on keeping. That's no longer a thing. You can put players on IR right now. Vikings put Dalton Reisner, the right guard, onto their IR, so they don't have to introduce a player to waivers that they would have ultimately ended up trying to keep while Reisner's on the IR. So that's one thing that's kind of different right now. Another thing that's interesting and is going to kind of shape how these teams get fleshed out is there was a potential rule change that I thought was locked in concerning a third quarterback, an emergency.
Oh, hold on. It's not locked in?
It has been vetoed as of today by the NFLPA. The rule basically said that you could put a third quarterback on your practice squad, but on game day, you could dress them and they could play as an emergency extra player if need be. And that rule was vetoed by the NFLPA today. So if you want more on that story, check out the Lineman Lounge Facebook page. I got the story up there for everyone to peruse. However, that is going to change how rosters are constructed. A lot of teams probably were looking at, hey, I'm going to keep 2 quarterbacks on my roster, put a third one on my practice squad. Now for teams like my Vikings in the situation, Sam Darnold is the primary, Nick Mullins is the backup. And then we have Jaron Hall, who actually looked, decent here in the preseason, did some good things. And he was probably going to be looked at as a potential roster cut put on the practice squad. Now we have to give more serious consideration, especially after all the injury woes at quarterback last year.
Yeah.
Do we keep a third guy on the roster? And so that's going to make a difference for a lot of teams out there, I would have to assume. So expect that if your team has a bubble guy at the quarterback room, maybe they might be staying now because you might need that extra quarterback. Teams like the New England Patriots, who now have Jacoby Brissett going down potentially with an injury here, they might be looking at, hey, what do? We maybe pup this guy or something like that, or IR him for 4 weeks, and who knows what's going to happen, what their roster depth chart is going to look like, because it doesn't sound like Gerard Mayo is willing to put out really good information. You have yesterday Gerard Mayo coming out and saying, Jacoby Brissett is our starter basically, and Drake May is our number 2 best quarterback, I believe was the terminology that he used. And then the injury happens, and then this morning he's like, Drake May's looking like the best quarterback out there, but that's not the only determining factor. I don't know if he knows what the fuck is going on, but
it's not a great look for Mayo, which kind of stinks because we were kind of rooting for him to. Yeah. But what a weird chain of events that Jacoby got hurt. He's going to come in. The rookie's going to maybe have some bumps and bruises, and we're going to see how he does. We don't have too many other options at this fucking point. Like, what are they going to do? But you're not going to get that, especially from a rookie head coach. I don't think, outside of what McDaniels that we've seen, they're not going to be out there open in the media. They're not going to be super forthright. They're not just going to tell you to fuck off if they mean fuck off, even though Mike McDaniels has now found several new ways to fucking make that happen, to tell people to basically fuck off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most of these coaches, I mean, it's typical. Coaches, new, old, are going to try to keep things close to the vest for the most part. This is still a change from the Belichickian era.
You can't go, oh yeah, Jacoby's our best. And then less than 12 hours later, oh no, Drake May was the best. Okay, so which one was it? Because either you're lying or you're stupid.
Yeah.
Those are both bad options.
Yeah. The reality of the situation, and I think most people would probably agree with this, is that rookie quarterback, you want to sit him if you can, especially a guy who needs some more development like a Drake May. He's got some mechanical issues, right? You probably want to sit him for as long as you can, but odds are that he's going to have to play this season for the Patriots
100%.
one way or the other, whether it's now or later. And the hope would be Jacoby Brissett gets you started in the season. And then when things, the wheels are already wobbly, but once they completely fucking fall off, then you can put May out there, get some reps that don't really matter and get him, some experience or something like that. Now we just don't know. It's kind of like, again, like you said, a bad look because it seems like, well, maybe we're going to go with Brissett, but now we want to boost up May because May might have to be our day one starter, and we want to act like this was our plan all along. Like,
he was always our guy. He was always our guy.
Yeah,
it's just a weird thing. Listen, Drake we have 100% confidence in Drake. We think he's going to do a great job. Jacoby got hurt. When he gets back, we will see where we're at. It's pretty like if you do that, I think this is a non-topic. We're not even fucking talking about this.
Yeah, I would have been fine with them being like, look, Drake May's the future. He's looking really good. We even think that he might be looking better than Jacoby, but we don't want to thrust him out there into a shit situation. So here comes Joe Milton.
Yeah, but you can't literally just go from one to the other. It doesn't. Yeah,
a little wishy-washy. But other big news today: CeeDee Lamb gets his contract.
Fuck right? Yeah, he did.
He is
now
the
fucking paid.
Second highest non-quarterback, second highest paid non-quarterback in the league. Getting a $136 million deal, locking him down there with the Cowboys. Now, I know that you have thoughts on this about how this works with the Dak Prescott and his contract and future there with the Cowboys.
Dak's future is this is done. This is it. I called this about a month ago. I was like, if it comes down to only paying one of these guys, they're only going to do one. It's going to be CD because CD is a weapon, right? What Jerry Jones can now do by paying CD and making Dak prove it. If Dak fumbles or it fucks this up in the playoffs again and has a terrible run in the playoffs or doesn't play well, he can just say, well, this is fucking Dak's fault. It's not the way I constructed the roster that's the problem. It's Dak's fault. He can't get us over the hump. And so we're not going to pay him the $55 million a year that he would be asking. That would be insane. This is just a simple cop-out for Jerry Jones to find a way to move on from Dak Prescott, because the only way that he doesn't keep him, the only way he does keep him at this point is going to be if he takes them really deep in the fucking playoffs. Then he's going to have to make him do it. This is it. If Dak doesn't go at least to the NFC Championship game, he's not getting a contract. We will not see Dak back in Dallas because they cannot pay CD, Dak, Micah Parsons, all these fucking dudes. And of all of those guys, to me, the weakest link is Dak Prescott. That's the one guy you don't pay. You get into the rookie pool, find a guy that you can fucking have a 5-year rookie contract on and build the team around him and try to open up another Super Bowl window.
Now, I've got two thoughts on this. First of all, the cap is a myth, right? If they want to keep Dak, they can. They can figure the money out, right?
Sure.
But my other thought on this.
It's time for reckless speculation.
Oh, I haven't seen one of those in a while. Let's go.
But I don't, and this is getting a little bit into our show a week from now where we do our season predictions, but I think the Cowboys might actually be really shit this year. All right. You've got CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott and not a whole lot else offensively. I mean, you've got Ferguson, who's a nice tight end, Zeke Elliott, who is a fat carcass of a running back there, like not what he once was. Rico Dowdle, who I think, has some upside of being like an okay running back, but like I'm not super impressed by the offense. I don't think that we're going to see the offensive prowess that we kind of did last year from. And then on the defensive side of the ball, you have Deron Bland, like one of your top 2 cornerbacks going down again.
Yeah.
For what, 4, 6, maybe 8 weeks or something like that. You have a Mike Zimmer defense, which you're going to maybe see a little bit of a boost there, but the Zimmer Hellfire defense is going to be boomer bust.
It's going to leak so many points with those fucking corners, bro.
I think that this team might not be a playoff team this year, especially with that NFC East I mean, Philly, I think probably is the odds-on favorite to take it, and I don't know that the Cowboys are going to be a playoff team. And if they are, I think it's wild card, like fringe wild card type territory. So my thought process here is that Jerry's looking for outs. He's looking for outs on Dak. He's looking for outs on McCarthy. And
Yeah,
he's
so
going
you
to bring in
pay the weapon, let your team be shit.
he's going to bring in a coach that he wants, maybe a Belichick or something like that.
Oh God,
And they're going to trade the farm to go up there and get Shadur Sanders.
that'd be wild.
I think
That would be
that's
wild if they go up against Shadur Sanders.
because he wants Deion's son back on the team. He wants that Sanders prime magic back on the Cowboys. That's my reckless speculation for the day that I can think of right now until something else pops up. But I'm calling it now. New head coach, Shadur Sanders, Cowboys next year.
So that means no fucking Dak Prescott.
Yes. That would be Dak Prescott walking. And I mean, we can absolutely have a conversation about that in the coming weeks about where he might be a good fit. And you know what? Look, if things are looking,
he'd be fine.
if things are looking really, really dire this year before the trade deadline, maybe they just fucking ship him off. If things are going bad down there in Dallas and it is a dumpster fire,
and then there's a team that has a quarterback that goes down, you call Jerry about getting Dak, and Jerry will make a deal for sure, dude.
it's very possible because look,
if he can get
a third round
back for fucking Dak Prescott, a 5th round pick that's only cost him money that Jerry has coming out of his fucking ears. If I can find anybody to take Dak's contract, he'll do that in a heartbeat, dude.
You can do that for at least a 2nd round pick. For a desperate team, you might be talking around a 1st round pick, which helps with that trade compensation if they need to move up there to get Shadur Sanders. But look, I think that he'll take what he can get, and I think you can get something probably pretty good over a 3rd round comp pick in 2026, which is what Dak would end up ultimately netting him if they let him walk in the market. So there's your reckless speculation for a reckless speculation Monday. All right.
Shout out to Mo from the OTC guys. We were talking about this over on Twitter earlier. Yeah, this is the only thing. This is the only way this is going to work. There's no way you pay Dak now.
Yeah. And in some other quarterback movement news, the Green Bay Packers have found their next future franchise quarterback, Malik Willis. They trade with the Titans, 7th round pick, and get Malik Willis. I guess they didn't really like what they saw out of their backups this year, brought Malik in. A little bit of a different style quarterback from what they currently have, but still maybe just as good of arm talent as Jordan Love.
So I think that was the thing with Malik when he was coming out. I was like, oh, he's got this really great arm talent, but we know how guys with really great arm talent always work out in the NFL, except for they don't, like Zach Wilson, who I'm not sure is going to be on a roster after.
Sean Payton has come out and said that Wilson is expected to make the roster.
Oh, man. Yeah. I'm surprised.
Which means they're probably running a 3-headed horse there. Bo Nix, Jared Stidham, and Zach Wilson
have to
out in Denver. Because I don't think you get rid of Stidham. The only thing,
the only one who has fucking played a game, played the game consistently, even though it wasn't great, was Stidham.
There was conversations that I did hear about this earlier, is that you shouldn't be necessarily making these decisions based on the money, but Zach Wilson carries a higher cap number and a higher cap hit from releasing him than Jared Stidham. And the Broncos are kind of in a shitty situation with the cap right now because they're paying Russ Wilson an absurd amount of money to not be there. Yeah. So if they were going to keep one of the two purely based off of money, it would be Zach Wilson over Jared Stidham. But to me, you kind of want to keep Stidham because he's going to give you the best bet of winning if you have to move on to someone other than Bo Nix because of injury or something like that.
Yeah, look, Bo Nix has looked pretty nice in that offense. It's a very vanilla, bland offense. I don't know why we were expecting to be gangbusters like fucking Drew Brees was back out there. Drew Brees was special. This Sean Payton offense is not necessarily special. So yeah, I mean, he's going to be out there. He's going to play. They're going to get the ball out of his hands quick. Like that's what we know about Bo Nix. So you should not. I'm not worried about an injury. I hope it doesn't happen to Bo, even though I fucking hope the Broncos get the just fucking dog walked all year. Because I would
He is a
love
bit
to
of an
see-
older dude, so brittle
Yeah.
bones.
But it doesn't make sense. They should definitely keep Stidham. They'll probably keep all three. And Zach Wilson lives to play another year. Well,
For
play
sure.
another week.
Yeah. But with that and the Jordan Love now having a new backup quarterback there in Green Bay, expect to see trades like this happening all the way up until that actual cut deadline. Teams are out there. They're probably talking right now saying like, hey, this guy's not going to make our roster. If you want to fight for him, you can on the open market, or you could just send us, some pennies right now in a 7th round pick, conditional late round picks,
7th round,
things like that. I'm sure that the Vikings are shopping Lewis Cine right now, safety, if anyone wants him, because he had some decent preseason games, but our 2022 first round pick is not good and will not be on the team probably this time tomorrow. You're also seeing this from the Broncos. They plan on cutting wide receiver Tim Patrick, unless they can find a trade partner for him. Tim Patrick's a nice number 3, number 4, maybe kind of type of receiver.
He's at bottom of the. He rounds out a wide receiver room.
Mm-hmm.
But he's an NFL wide receiver.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think that you still have some guys out there like that, and I don't know what team's gonna. Maybe there's a team that's really in love with his skill set, but you're going to be seeing more of this by this time tomorrow. Teams that are going to be trading late round picks, conditional picks. Some teams are having injuries go down, and they're having to make these trades now for guys that maybe would have made the roster regardless, but now they can kind of get them at a discount potentially. So the Seahawks, they have one of their top edge rushers, Nwasu, go down, sprained MCL. It's going to be up to maybe 6 weeks that he's down. So they go ahead and they make another move, trying to get some help there. Travis Gibson from the Jacksonville Jaguars. They acquired him for a 2025 6th round pick today to help kind of bolster that defense up a little bit. Sucks to see an injury like that happen here, not in a game. But moves like that are going to continue to happen again until 4 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. And maybe even after, because you do kind of see the shell game happening a little bit. Guys will make the 53 and then a day later they won't. Teams are going to sort through all of these waived players, and the players do typically have to go through waivers. Not everybody, but typically they got to go through waivers, and then teams are going to start vying for some of these talents that didn't make squads, and they're going to be replacing players that did just make your 53-man roster. So while tomorrow again is cut down day, expect to see a lot more movement here for the rest of the week.
This time of year is always cool because some guys, when you see the videos of them making it, it's fantastic. Then they make it, and then they don't make it, but then they get another shot. I love the guys that continue to fight and try to live their dream. Anthony Schwartz, a guy that he might make the roster down there in Miami, did not fucking work here at all, but has a chance to maybe catch on in Miami. And if anybody knows how to use that speed, that offense would know how to do it. So, I love those kinds of stories. This is next 24 hours or not even 24 hours at this point. It's fucking 9 o'clock here. Is a wild time. And I always feel bad for the vets. There's going to be some dudes that get cut late that shouldn't get cut late, that are not going to really have a chance to catch on with another team because there's miles on them. It almost always happens with running backs or linebackers. You see that a lot. And I always feel bad for those guys, but there's so much shit happening.
Yep. We still, with the cuts and potential trades, we still don't have any news so far about Brandon Ayuk. Any thoughts on Brandon Ayuk? We did just have a trade, and I brought this up, trade of Jahan Dotson from the Commanders over to Philly. And Commanders were actually one of those teams that were talked about as a potential trade destination for Ayuk. Jahan Dotson, a player I like. He hasn't lived up to what he was expected to be, being a first-round pick, but he hasn't had a fucking team around him either. I mean, you see guys like, scary Terry McLaurin still doing good out there in Washington.
Yeah.
And Jahan Dotson having some little flashes here and there, I think is a fantastic get for the Eagles. I mean, they have a fucking stacked wide receiver room, it seems like.
Yeah, they got a lot
what
of talent.
an offense that is ready to pop now with new OC out there.
Saquon.
But that does leave the wide receiver room there for Washington a little bit wanting. They might go out there and get some of these guys that are hitting the market here, but I think that there could be a little bit more smoke there with the Ayuk news. Now, Ayuk is kind of around the team more, he's traveling with them and stuff like that, but things are not settled there. And we are very close to the season starting. I believe they've already come out and said that they are not expecting Ayuk to be out there for the 49ers week 1, like even if the deal gets done.
So
And they're also dealing with the Trent Williams stuff. It sounded like a Trent Williams contract was ready to go, but he's still not reporting as of 5 hours ago.
Okay, so real quick on the Trent Williams thing, if you guys don't want to fucking pay him, Andrew Berry will find a way to fucking do it. I will give up this year's first round pick. Our tackles are so fucking bad, bro. So bad. But no, so the IU thing, I think there could be a lot of smoke here. There could be fire. If he wanted to go to Pittsburgh, he would fucking be in Pittsburgh. They have the deal in place. The money is in place. The compensation is in place. If he wanted to fucking be there, he would be there, but he's not. He wants enough money from the 49ers, or he wants to go to his prime target was Washington, was it not? To go play with Jaden Daniels?
I think he wanted to be reunited with his old ASU teammate. And look, I know Joe Rockstar doesn't like it, and we've had a lot of conversations about this. And he still says he's under contract. Yeah. I get it, but man, like it seems like the relationship is so back and forth. Like they're trying to work on it, and it's kind of like one of those situations like you and your girl just constantly fighting. You break up, you're back together, you break up, back together. Like sometimes you got to just fucking call it quits here and get what you can for the dude. And this is a team now that has a little bit of extra draft capital from trading Jahan Dotson. They have a need. And it seems like Ayuk would probably be open to the opportunity to go play there. Like, we got to shit or get off the pot here real soon.
Yeah, like he's going to take this into the season. Same thing. If he wanted to be in fucking San Francisco, he would probably be in San Francisco. That deal would be done. Like there is compensation all over the place. He wants to go somewhere specific. He wants to go to Washington. Jahan Dotson just gets traded. They now have a need. You want to surround a young quarterback with weapons, and the Commanders can find a way to pay him what he needs and give him their young rookie quarterback who is raw, 2 really talented wide receivers to throw to. That's a really good way to grow up in the NFL. Like, it makes total sense to me. I don't see why that is not a possibility. I really like where your head's at, because honestly, he would be somewhere else or have a contract if that's what he wanted. But we're not there yet. He doesn't want to keep getting fined.
You bring up the money situation. The Washington Commanders went into this offseason with one of the highest, if not the highest, cap space available. They still have over $37 million available, according to Over the Cap. 2025, they're still looking at $75 million, and that's without rolling over any of that money. Like, this is a team that gutted themselves, rightfully so, because they did have a lot of trash there, and they've got the cap space to work with. Like, they can make a big deal that happen for them and make Ayuk very happy. And it seems almost like too much of a match made in heaven for it not to go down. The only question now really is what sort of compensation would the Commanders be willing to send to the 49ers? And are the 49ers on board with that? I mean, look, they've got Debo there, so they've got a good receiver. They got Kittle there, and Ricky Pearsall, if he ever gets healed from these injuries that apparently they kind of overlooked in the draft process, Pearsall looks like he could be a fucking stud too. Like, I was a big fan of him.
I love Pearsall. I love watching him.
He's looked good in camp and everything. Like, he's not an Ayuk, but like, if you do this, you can hopefully Pearsall gets better. You can probably find a dude on the market here in the next couple days. Like, it seems like a very good match made in heaven. I know it's not what Joe Rockstar wants, but at some point in time, we gotta shit or get off the pot.
Yeah. So what compensation? reports of compensation here in Cleveland where it was Amari Cooper and a second-round pick. Well, Scary Terry's not going in this trade back. Not a fucking chance. It's not even non-starter. Can't go because we're going to create a wide receiver tandem for our rookie. So you got to be thinking first-round pick. 3 a 1, a 3 and a player.
A first round pick still to me that's a lot. Listen,
when you consider the fact that they didn't necessarily want to send him out there, that like they can't get a player in return that they want because they were going for a second round pick.
Second round
Amari
pick.
Cooper.
Second round pick. And Luke McCaffrey. Reunite the brothers.
Yeah, that's sure. He could be the player to be named later. Like, but you gotta if it's Amari Cooper and a second from Cleveland, and they're not gonna get a receiver back, you gotta think they want a first from Washington.
Either that or they're gonna be looking at multiple picks. I mean, you can probably get some of the garbage.
I still think they're gonna get multiple picks. If they get a 1, I think they're going to get a 3 or a 4 as well with that.
I could see a second and a fourth or something like that, and that fourth could upgrade to a third based on how Ayuk
wide
does.
Receiver people are overpaying because here's the thing: you need to get Ayuk, you need to get him a contract because the contracts for wide receivers are not fucking going down.
Yeah.
What?
I think one is a little rich, but look, if the command, I don't know.
I'm not saying that I would fucking give that up, but I believe that's probably the ask.
Trying to get into the GM's head there for the Commanders. I don't think that they think that they're in a window yet, and giving up a 1 is something that you do when you feel like you're in your window. To me, so it's a like if I'm giving up a 1. I'm also looking for more than just the player. Probably, I'm looking for a pick in return. Now, it could be like a 5th round pick or something, but like I need a little, rub coming back my way.
Ayuk and a 5 for a 1 and a 3.
It's still a tough price.
Listen, it's rich for sure. It's rich for my blood for sure, but I feel like that's the ask.
All right, look.
There's no way the Commanders are going to not take a pick back. And the 49ers want a fucking 1. They're losing Ayuk.
Yeah. The other thing is that the 49ers, they do feel like they're in their window and that it might be getting close to closing time. McCaffrey ain't getting younger. Trent Williams ain't getting younger. Like, you've got a window. You got to make this happen. They probably do want to find some way to get a receiver in-house that can help them this year because they still look like a relatively loaded team that has a good chance of making it to the NFC Championship this year or more. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. What does everyone else think? Anyone that's watching this, comment on anything, any platform that you're watching on. What do you think the correct trade compensation would be for Ayuk? Try to be as agnostic to this as possible if you're a fan. What do you think that a realistic, good trade compensation would be to send Ayuk off to the Commanders? Because like a 1 is tough for me to bite on. It'd be great for the 49ers, but that's still, it's next year, like, yeah, we can replace him next year and in a draft that isn't supposed to be wide receiver heavy, but I don't know.
So I couldn't see any facet where, because you got to think about what, if there's a deal in place with Pittsburgh, what does that deal include from Pittsburgh? Because there's not a fucking receiver coming back from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, probably not.
So you got to be thinking that they're giving up. Is Pittsburgh in a window? They just paid a lot of fucking money, or they just, I guess, didn't pay. No, they didn't pay a lot of money. They just got Russell Wilson to come in and play for a bag of fucking peanuts, and then traded a bag of balls for their backup quarterback.
So Pittsburgh isn't going to give up a George Pickens, but their next receivers in line: Van Jefferson, who's a decent piece, Quez Watkins, Calvin Austin III. So I mean, I could see a Van Jefferson potentially being sent off because that's Ayuk's obviously an upgrade over that, and you're not going to hurt it. That's your top two guys are Pickens and Ayuk. I'm not going to cry at all if Van Jefferson leaves. But he's a competent number 3 style receiver. You're not getting the same production out of him that you would if you're, looking at Ayuk to Van Jefferson and I'm San Francisco. But that's a little bit of something. I mean, also Van Jefferson ain't worth much pick wise. So that is just kind of a throwaway player that can still go out there and catch the ball for you. It would have to be probably heavier pick compensation coming from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking the same thing for. It's got to be the same thing for Washington. There's no way because they cannot send Terry back.
Hey, Tim Patrick's out there if they want to trade for Tim Patrick.
That's true. They could always go get Tim Patrick. That would be a weird set of events. Where
Yes. Yep. One guy they can't go out and get though, Juju Smith-Schuster. He's back on the Chiefs roster.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm interested to see how this dynamic works, especially because Juju is not like a really, really talented wide receiver. Like we thought that Juju had a chance to be like pretty goddamn good, or I did anyways.
He looked decent in Pittsburgh for a little bit.
Yeah, like he had moments, man.
The thing that should be telling is when the Patriots, who are completely devoid of talent,
bereft of fucking weapons,
they cut you in the middle of the preseason.
Something happened there. I don't know what it is. He's going to make the roster. If they signed him today, he's definitely making the roster. That also makes you think that maybe the Chiefs were not necessarily happy with their wide receiver room based on the preseason, which their wide receiver room that had brilliant flashes at times. And I think that's what we're going to see a lot from that wide receiver room again. Some brilliant flashes, but there's a lot of inconsistency in that wide receiver room.
Yeah, I mean,
outside of Rashee Rice.
Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice are obviously going to be getting a lot of play there. Hollywood Brown is out for a while, and that's probably why you bring in Juju. You have Sky Moore as well, and then Mecole Hardman, but not a whole lot else running around in that roster, wide receiver wise. I mean, they've gotten by for years with a whole lot of Jags there. Sky Moore never became what he was kind of expected to be out there as well. So, I mean,
I was so wrong on Sky Moore, bro.
I liked him too. I didn't think he was going to be the next greatest thing or anything like that.
I thought he was going to be a fucking slot merchant, bro.
Yeah.
I was super wrong.
Yeah. But yeah, you don't bring Juju Smith-Schuster in and sign him today in order to cut him tomorrow.
Yeah. He's on the roster.
Yeah, so he's got to be making the roster, which sucks for some of those young guys who are probably vying for a chance to play with the greatest quarterback in the NFL right now. So,
yeah, it won't be long before he's the greatest quarterback in the NFL history either.
Yeah. All right. Other than that, I mean, there's plenty of other little ancillary moves and things like that going on. Browns officially put Nick Chubb on the IR, so he's going to be sitting at least the first 4 games. This was kind of expected, right?
So I don't know. I kind of expected it. I don't think it was a real big surprise. Listen, Nick Chubb is a fucking dog. He's running. We saw him squatting. If we can keep him out for a few more weeks, continue to build his health back, I'm fine with that. Nick Chubb in fucking 13 games is greater than 90% of the running backs in the league at 17 games. So, yeah, let him sit. Let him come back, hopefully as healthy as he possibly can. And let's see Nick Chubb run through a motherfucker's face.
Yeah, and you guys have what? Jerome Ford is going to be your primary back now running there. You've got Pierre Strong and Deonta Foreman, probably all making the roster at this point with Chubb being out. And that's a decent little platoon there. Deonta Foreman's obviously going to be able to be that power guy, goal line and stuff like that. But if you truly do think that your roster is set up to make a deep playoff run, you're not looking to, win just the first 4 games of the season. You're looking for a deep run. And if Nick Chubb is going to be able to provide that to you in the end of the season, yeah, absolutely. You let him sit, you let him rest, you let him get healthy. So that way down the stretch, you've got your main dude. So
Absolutely. That makes some complete sense to me. Now, we have some cuts that have happened. Let me make sure that no big names, no crazy. No. Okay, so no. Oh, Isaiah Thomas cut is a little
from
surprising to me.
Giants. Is that who I'm thinking of?
No, I believe his entire career has been here with the Browns.
Oh,
Yep. Drafted 22, I want to say. Or not drafted. Undrafted free agent. Didn't look terrible in the preseason, but I mean, listen, that our fucking D end room is fairly deep right now. Right now, I feel like. So I mean, it sucks to see him go. And we had some guys that performed. Obviously, we have some issues along that defensive line. We still don't know what Michael Hall's making the squad very clearly now. Definitely making the squad.
yeah.
Because he's not been cut. He
He
won't
was
be
out there
cut tomorrow.
playing against the
Out there.
Vikings
Yeah,
days later.
so he's not getting cut. Will he be able to play? I don't know. So whatever our 53 is, I don't know if it will stay our 53 because if Michael Hall goes on to commissioner's exempt list, then we'll bring another guy in. He could be a potential bring back, but if he's in the first round of cuts, you probably don't see him come back. Yeah, that's what I got on the Browns. Nick Chubb is not going to be there for the first 4 weeks, but I'm completely okay with that. We're playing the Cowboys, who I'm glad that I'm not the only one who kind of thinks they're going to be dog shit this year. So I'm not worried about week 1, and then we'll figure it out as we fucking go from there, man. Like, I'm not going to get wrapped around the axle about a few weeks for Nick Chubb. Dallas, Jacksonville, the Giants, and Vegas.
And who's going to be your starting quarterback for that week 1 game?
It is going to be Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson had a lot of reps at practice and in joint practices and none in the preseason. Which
Just a little bit of soreness isn't going to be a problem. I thought that I saw something about his week 1 status up in the air.
His week 1 status is not up in the air. I can fucking guarantee you that. Now, he did have a sore arm one day, coming back from an injury. Okay, sore arm. I'm not ready to freak out on Deshaun. Listen, he's working his way back from an injury. I am not asking for much. I am asking for, I think, what is the bare minimum for a starting NFL quarterback? 3,500 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 17 games started and finished. That's all I'm looking for. And if he provides that, Deshaun is fucking fine in my book for this year because that is all this team needs. This team is so fucking good. Now, our tackle situation is not great right now. I'm a little worried about our tackles. So if Trent Williams is available, go get him, Andrew Berry. But
I doubt he's available. I doubt it. But
there's no way.
And on the Deshaun front, I'm sure that that soreness, the team's probably got a great training staff, a couple massage therapists on staff that can work out the soreness. It's no problem. I bet you Deshaun was watching the receiver documentary and seeing the physical therapy and massage that Devontae Adams and Debo was getting, and just completely bricked up, being like, we need to get some of these out here in Cleveland. That looks like a fun time.
You mean the old suburban white couple that doing Kirk Cousins didn't do it for him?
I don't know about that, but
yeah.
He'll take what he can get right now, probably.
Oh my God.
Anyway, buddy, you got anything else that you want to go over before we wrap this bad boy up?
Brother. I don't got shit.
Cool. All right then. Well,
let's get the fuck out of here, man. I'm Mike. That is Evo. This is the Lineman Lounge. We're going to be coming to you guys a lot more this NFL season. Tuesday nights for recap shows, Sunday mornings for gambling to get all your bets. If you want to watch this show, go over to our YouTube, like, subscribe. Any subscribers are fantastic. We are trying so hard to continue to grow this thing and push to 1,000 subscribers over there on the YouTube. So if you guys could help us out with that, it would be fantastic. If you want to just listen to this show, any podcast platform is going to have us. And if you want to interact with the dummy, thick idiots of the No Sleeves Network, you can go on to NoSleepsNetwork.com. Any of the socials on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. I think I got them all. We got so many fucking things going on right now. It's hard to keep track, but we are everywhere. But with that, guys, thank you very much. Anytime you spend some time with us, it means a lot. Time is the most valuable thing that you have. So when you give it to us, we are forever grateful. But with that, we are going to get the fuck out of here. Evo, give the people one last word.
Malik Willis, QB1 Packers.
One last shot at the Packers, baby. I'm Mike. That's Evo. This is the Lineman Lounge. We're getting the fuck out of here.